Welcome to a playoff edition of FSI. Today we are going to be looking at the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams from a betting perspective. Now we are currently 31-11 in our official moves on Twitter, so make sure you're following that account. I'm your host, Tom Cross, and to my right is our analytics expert, Stephen Fu.
Thanks for tuning in this week. The Rams are on the road as a 3.5 point underdog. They're plus 160 on the money line, and the Seahawks, they're minus 180.
Although I think some people may think this spread is shocking, Seattle only being minus 3.5 against a backup quarterback, I feel like the spread is right and may actually be a bit high. The reason for that is that the Rams run a very quarterback-friendly offense. It's a 1-2 read system and relies on the running game. Now, Seattle obviously has Russell Wilson and has the hype of being at home, but obviously there is no 12th man. Now, I do feel like the odds makers may have gotten this wrong. It's a bit high. But overall, I feel like there's enough hype on the Seattle Seahawks to obviously draw in the public vote.
Both of these teams have been performing extremely well on the defensive side of the ball. Over the last 4 games, each of them has held their opponents to an average of below 20 points. Now, on the offensive side, they've been struggling to put up points, but I still think the spread is quite low because the Rams do not have a starting quarterback this game.
John Wolford had his first win in the NFL, and he was looking great. I heard he changed his LinkedIn job from finance to quarterback for the first time in his life. So congratulations on that and the W. Now, the reason why I do like him is that Sean McVay runs a very open and easy offense. It's a 1-2 read system that relies on the running game and a little bit of play action. So I don't think they're going to ask him to do too much. But where he may be better than Jared Goff is he actually had 9 rushes for 56 yards. Now, when you add that in to the play calling that is friendly on the passing game and a healthy Cam Akers, they could actually have some success against the Seattle defense.
Russell Wilson has had another impressive season in his resume. However, he did come up just short of that MVP award. Over his last 4 games, though, he has not been performing well, averaging under 200 yards per game. Nonetheless, he still had over 4,000 passing yards and 40 passing touchdowns, which ranks him top 10 in both categories.
The Rams' offensive line will play well against Seattle's, and the reason why is that Jared Goff in the last matchup had time to be successful, although he was not, but the time was there. So I feel like the quarterback is going to have time in the pocket. Now, Seattle has one of the worst pass rushes against pressure in the league. They are one of the top in sacks, but they don't get much pressure. I don't think anything is going to change here, especially with the Rams obviously getting Whitworth back for the last 2 games. So advantage to the Rams on the offensive line.
The Seahawks have one of the worst offensive lines this year. They've given up the 4th most sacks, allowing 48 throughout the entire season. And they will be matched up against a stout defensive line, which is the 2nd best pass rush, and arguably one of the best defenses in the league.
Now, for the Rams wide receivers, the question of the day is, are they going to be getting Cooper Kupp back from the COVID list? I have a feeling they will get him back, and that will obviously help the young quarterback in his second start. Now, Seattle's secondary has been better of late. They are getting a little bit of chemistry, so I want to call this matchup a draw. Or maybe I might even give Seattle a small advantage in this respect.
The Seattle Seahawks have 2 receivers with over 1,000 receiving yards. DK Metcalf leads the team with 1,300 yards, but Tyler Lockett is a healthy second option with 1,054 yards on the season. However, this week they are up against the best passing defense, so it's not going to be an easy task for them this week.
Now, the biggest difference between the last matchup and this matchup is that Cam Akers is available for the Rams running game. This is huge because I feel like the Rams would have won that game if Darrell Henderson had finished that game. He was knocked out by Jamal Adams on a touchdown saving play that the Rams did not score on from the 1 yard line. So this is a huge upgrade for the Rams, and Seattle has a bend but don't break type of running defense. They're okay against the run, but at the end of the day, a healthy Cam Akers is a huge advantage for the Rams. I feel like the Rams are going to have an advantage in the running department.
Russell Wilson's ability to run the ball creates a very dynamic offense for Seattle. They're averaging 4.8 yards per carry, which ranks them 5th best in the league. However, they are up against the 2nd best run defense, so they're not going to find any areas of advantage against the Rams defense.
I do feel like there is a strong advantage here for the Rams. And the reason why is that Cam Akers is back in the lineup, and that Rams offense depends on the running game. Now their defense, they'll take care of themselves. Obviously, Jalen Ramsey has been able to lock up DK Metcalf, and they have a strong pass rush against a weak offensive line, so they'll be able to limit Russell Wilson. I do think there is an advantage here for the Rams at plus 3.5, but really what I would most likely do is get a 7-point teaser with another team like the Colts, get them plus 14.5, and get the Rams plus 10.5, and I feel like both teams have a chance to win that game, but there's probably a 90% chance that they cover that.
The Rams had a very interesting Week 17. They would have made the playoffs even if they lost that game, but this week they're up against a completely different quarterback and a completely different defense. Now, Seattle should have no problem beating the Rams, but I think it's smart taking the money line on this bet.
Now remember, we can't predict injuries, PEDs, or COVID, or the weather. So make sure you follow our Twitter for our official moves. A lot of these plays are coming down to the last hour and a half before the game, so I can get the inactive and active report. That does it for us. Do me a favor, smash the like button and subscribe. Tell us who you can be taking in the comments below.
We don't care about favorite teams here. Our focus is on making you money. Follow our social media on Twitter, Instagram, or our webpage. The links are below.